Chelsea Football Club breaking news, Romeo Lavia is out for the season. Yes, Romeo Lavia is out for the season, and every single Chelsea fan, when they read it, have this picture in their mind. This is me, my head's hot. And the reality is, a lot of people are emotional, and when you're emotional, you start making statements that don't make sense. I have seen some stupid statements from people today, from blaming purely Pochettino, from blaming the medical staff that everyone should get fired, and some people even went as far as saying signing Lavia was only an ego flex. What nonsense, absolute nonsense. I'm going to give you guys the context, I'm going to give you the background, and I'm going to explain to you what I think has happened and what the news is suggesting happened. Then we're going to talk about Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku yesterday did something that was beautiful, a Trivela assist that I didn't think Romelu had in his locker, but after the game, it's what he said that was more interesting. And once again, he spoke about Chelsea. And then we're going to review Mikhailo Mudrik's beautiful goal to send Ukraine to the Euros, and Noni Madueke making a case to start, and what we need to do going to the end of the season. It's going to be a positive video, it's going to be interesting. However, today's video is going to be heavily dominated by the news regarding Romeo Lavia. So what I ask from you lot is, can we get 1,000 likes on this video to share this content around, to give some people some context and realism? Secondly, you've made it this far, clearly you are enjoying what you see. Subscribe, the easiest way to support the channel. And then if you're super kind and you actually want to be a genuine mate, share this content out with your friends and family. Peace out, I'm out, have a lovely day. Let's move on with the video. Yo, before we get started with the video, I did a Victor Osimhen Scout, Kavkas the Scout, the new segment that I do on this channel. It's literally, I cover his strength, weaknesses, and I'd give you my verdict on whether I would sign the player. The Victor Gyökeres video was loved, so I thought, why don't I do one for Victor Osimhen? Let me know your thoughts. Enjoy it after this video. There'll be a link at the end. But let's get back to what you came for. So when it comes to Romeo Lavia, we have literally not seen him play for Chelsea. I don't count the half an hour for Crystal Palace because it is one of those performances where he came on and it looks like it done more damage than good. Let's give you the context and the background before we get into the news today. What do we know? We know that he's out for the remainder of the season. Since he's joined Chelsea, he's had 4 injuries, guys. 4 injuries. This is absolutely crazy. This is unprecedented. We've signed the player for 65 million, and ever since he's come in, he's literally had 13 minutes of football for Chelsea Football Club. This is a player of high level talent. This is a player that last season played 2,231 minutes. This was 1,000 minutes more than any under 21 player. So it's not like this player is injury prone. However, stories are now coming out. Lavia was absolutely rushed back in December. And for me, what is mind-boggling is, why was he rushed back? Because he was rushed back for half an hour. And this is where the story doesn't make sense. They're saying the technical staff wanted him to play because basically we were in desperate need of a midfielder. He was close to being back and they rushed him back. And then they're saying the medical staff was saying don't do it. And I don't believe this story. And whilst the source is coming out with some credit, like the logic makes sense, Poch is fighting for his job, I don't buy this story, because why would you risk him for half an hour? Especially when Poch was praising Matos. This is what really irritates. Poch was consistently saying, Matos is really good, he's impressing me. Articles were coming out on a weekly basis how good Alex Matos is. Now at Huddersfield, playing regular football. So all of a sudden, what? You're not going to give Matos half an hour against Crystal Palace, but you're going to give it to Lavia. It's reckless. It's silly. And I don't see Pochettino as that kind of manager. What do I think happened? And this is what I think is happening right now. And people are going to say, Alex, you're being too nice. I think there are 3 main factors that are happening. Number 1, growth. I think you need to look at historical injuries for other players and bring it back to present day. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is the one that always comes to my mind, right? Ruben now has resolved his injury issues. Now he is able to find a way to either stretch and maintain himself after games or do Pilates or whatever he does. But initially, Ruben was always injured. And articles have been released explaining his case study as somebody that's growing. When he was growing, his body was struggling to still do the same stuff that he could do when he was smaller because he's heavier. His joints weren't like withstanding the muscle that he was putting on. And it was just a biological issue. There was nothing he can do to fix it. And Lavia is going through that stage as well. And I think this is the same thing that's happening with Carney. They are 19. Your body changes drastically from the age of 16 all the way to 23. You go from being a kid to a teenager to a young adult and then to a man. And then you get your man body. Your man bod, you know, when you're stronger, you're bigger, you're physically more powerful. The issue is their bodies are like fine-tuned machines. A little bit of variance and things go wrong. And this is what I think is one of the factors that could be going wrong. I'm not a doctor. Number two, poor management. Evidently, something is going wrong at Chelsea. Factually, we can see this because Ogachukwu was meant to be out for 8 weeks. It's 12 weeks later, he's still out. Nkunku was meant to be out for 6 weeks. Nkunku's were out for literally the whole season. Carney was meant to be out for a few, basically out the whole season. Lavia was meant to be back by January. He's not back yet. We clearly have an issue. Fofana, Badiashile recurring injury, Reece James recurring injury, Ben Chilwell. We have got a problem internally. But I don't know whether it's the medical staff, whether it's the training, because we're not there. It's difficult for us to point fingers and point blame. And final one, luck. It most probably could have something to do with it. And people are going to say, Alex, it can't just be bad luck. Why is no one else having this bad luck? Guys, sometimes things in life just come down to misfortune. And that is the reality of it. There's this whole narrative going on now. We should have never signed Lavia. You can't judge a player of 1 year into a 7-year contract. Romeo Lavia had the best statistics for any youngster in Europe last year in his position. Interceptions, tackles, blocks. The kid was touted from a young age to be a brilliant midfielder for Belgium. They were talking about him in high regards. We have got a genuine talented asset on our hand and we need to understand what we have. The plan is to get him back onto the pitch. It's not now to poo-poo on him. And this is what I'm seeing. People are tweeting him. People are saying, what a waste of money. This is an agenda by Bowley and them lot to get it stick to Liverpool, but we're the ones that got it stuck on. I think this is so ridiculous. I think this is emotional. And I don't think you should be watching people's reactions like that. That's my personal opinion. There's a certain account, I am not even going to mention his name. He started tweeting me, oh my God, look how optimistic you are. This is why you shouldn't be listening to waffle like this. Big man, first of all, no one was waffling. The initial diagnosis was that he'll be back within 3 months. Early April, he'll be back and play. Pochettino has said this before the cup final. He basically said, we will be seeing him soon. Sorry, sue me for being excited to have players that we paid £65 million for to come back. There's a reason why no one watches his dead channel. That's the fact of the matter. But it is what it is. Let's keep up with the next step. The next story is regarding Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku yesterday played for Belgium against England in a 2-2 draw. And Romelu Lukaku, in my opinion, the first half, didn't have a good game. I felt Lukaku played okay, but he had moments where he caused serious problems. And when I tell you, after what happened to Dunk in Rome with Romelu Lukaku in the Olympic Stadium, he literally had flashbacks because the mistake he caused was purely based on the fact that he did not want to get caught one-on-one with Lukaku again, and he made him fool out of himself. And what's interesting there is that Romelu Lukaku gets the ball and he travelers it beautifully onto Euro Tielemans' head. And first thing was, Rom, you got that in your locker. Beautiful. And the second thing that came in my head was, Rom, you absolute waste man. Because if Romelu Lukaku, never made that interview, we would have had a good striker on our hands for the last 2 years. We would have had some great impetus of someone scoring at least 20 goals a season for us. Because Romelu Lukaku gets numbers. Say what you want about Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku is a flat track bully. He'll get you so many goals against teams like Fulham, West Ham, Bournemouth, Luton. You know those games where it's tight and you need someone to score a brace, and he does it. And all of a sudden, Romelu Lukaku at the end of the season has 19 goals in the league. And you're like, whoa, how does he do that? That's what we would have had. But with Rom, you just can't trust him. And the reason you can't trust him is because Rom loves an interview, man. Romelu Lukaku, after his career, is going to have more impact on football than he did during his career. And saying that, he's had a great career. I think Romelu Lukaku is going to give us one of the best podcasts you're ever going to get after he retires. Because the man knows how to stir things up. He is so talented. They asked him, they were like, oh, Do you want to, when you come back to England next year, do you want to impress? He's like, you need to ask Chelsea for that. That's basically putting, I ain't coming back. He's not coming back. Romelu Lukaku is going to be moving to Saudi Arabia. I don't think the demand for him is there in Europe. I think he's going to be too expensive. The wages are too high. And I think Rom at this stage in his career has realized maybe it's time for me to get paid a good sum of money. Because where does he go next? Back to Roma? Are Roma going to want to pay the money that it's going to cost? 35 million plus the wages? I don't see it. Somewhere in Italy? I don't see it. They don't have the money at this moment in time available to go purchase him. Atletico Madrid? Maybe, but they've got Morata. Madrid and Barcelona don't want him. What's left? PSG? Don't see it. No one in England is going to go and pay Chelsea 35 million for him. So there's just so many variables that are happening around here. The wages are ruling moves out, and it's going to be a Saudi move. It's a shame because I genuinely think if Romelu didn't have the personality he has where he constantly needs to stem fire somewhere. Like, for example, there was no need to do the interview when he was at Chelsea. He would have still been a Chelsea player and most probably would have been getting a lot of goals. Yes, we would have had our reservations about him. Yes, we would have been annoyed. But Romelu Lukaku is a very good player and he's had a fantastic career. I think he's criminally underrated. Like the other day I said Ivan Toney is Romelu Lukaku without the talent. In the way that he always has to have a media interview. He always has to talk about something. He always has to put himself in the spotlight. And people jumped on me like, Ivan Toney's much better player than Romelu Lukaku. Ivan Toney has not had 50% of the career Romelu Lukaku has had. Romelu Lukaku is a far superior player in his career than Ivan Toney. I am sorry. In regards to the international break, we have really seen some Chelsea players really star out, and it's been actually really refreshing to see it. And what I love about the international break is it really changes perspectives on people that go from Noni and Mudryk need to be sold to Noni and Mudryk need to start. Like, it's a quick U-turn, and it's always those two actually, you know. So what has happened? Mudryk has led his country to the Euros. He didn't have a good game. I saw the highlights. But he scored the goal that was decisive and it led his country to the Euros. So at the end of the day, if you get the assist for the game that gets you to the final of the qualification, and then in the final you win based on your goal, broski, you played a good role and you played a pivotal role. And it's what you get paid the big money for at Chelsea to do, contribute. The reality is the performance is important. However, the big gene of scoring and assisting in pivotal moments is just as important. Because when you're that guy, you step up when your country or your club needs you most. And clearly he did. The goal was a very nice goal. It was literally the ball got cut back to him. He went across goal into the side net and then the ball went in. Horrible knee slide. But now the narrative has started. He has to start. He has to be playing. And for me, it's very interesting to see what Pochettino does, because Pochettino's been utilizing him in that number 10 role. And Enzo's going to be back, I think, either today or tomorrow. I think he's going to be back on the Thursday. So he'll have one day of immunizing himself back into this time zone, and then after, play against Burnley. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the reality is Mudryk has staked a claim. The other player that staked the claim is Noni Madueke. He got 2 goals. The first goal, if you have not seen Noni's goal, go and watch it for the under-21s. It is literally a pass of beautiful esque. The ball gets passed to him and he just, first time, just absolutely deliciously curls the pass in. And it was just so lackluster. And it's so beautifully done that the keeper was caught out. Didn't expect it. Then he done the classic Noni way. He's running, and then takes a shot with his left foot on the floor and rolls it in. 2 goals, got an assist. And it's once again, Noni's too good for under 21 level, but he's not good enough to start for England. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And the only way Noni breaks into England is if Noni Madueke starts playing for Chelsea and scoring goals. So I think Noni needs to go on loan this summer. Definitely. He's too talented to be sitting on a bench. We've got way too many options in front of him. And this is a messy situation for both players. I genuinely need to see what happens. I think Raheem Sterling at this moment in time is getting a lot of stick. And Raheem needs to step up. Raheem needs to step up and have a good game against Burnley. Then he needs to step up and have another good game against United, Sheffield and Everton. 4 games back to back before the Arsenal game. and then we can reassess. 4 wins on the bounce puts us in a position where we haven't been in a while. And literally, when I say a while, I mean 2 seasons. We're going to be somewhere 7th or 6th, looking up at Manchester United or looking like at Spurs. Can we potentially catch them? Because then we'll have to play them. So it's just about getting wins. And that is the most important thing from now till the end of the season. Get wins, get Europa League football, and then we go from there. Optimism, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. One more thing, I think something very important. Here is the Victor Osimhen breakdown. I think you guys will really enjoy this. It's the quickest way for you guys to understand his strengths and weaknesses. So, see you later. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video.